Hi guys, this is Magic. Oh, there's a lot of traffic today, so you might hear a lot of cars driving by, but I hope it's not too distracting. So, Spirit has been nudging me to put out another video, and this video is going to be a collective message. This is going to be a message for everybody. It's about Libra season. It's about new beginnings. Immediately, I always go to the cards to kind of give me inspiration because I kind of felt the nudging, but I was a little reluctant because I kind of felt a little fragmented this morning, and I didn't feel very grounded. So I was like, oh, maybe I should just wait. But Spirit kept saying, get to work. So when I shuffled, they're so funny. They gave me the structure card, which is get to work. You got to get to work, right? And so I said, okay, fine. So I said, Spirit, give me a message. What do you want me to do? Because, I was thinking about doing a sacred soulmate. But I wasn't really connected to that. Spirit wanted me to give a collective message, something to encourage, to inspire, and just to kind of give you a heads up of what you should be expecting, right, to come forth for you. So I use sacred, not sacred, but the Starseed Oracle deck because I really love this deck. I love the messages that come through. So what I got was big picture thinking. I love this. And it's Pleiades energy. It's visionary, inspired ideas. And immediately, I immediately thought about a portal being open, a doorway, a portal. And then these two cards are so beautiful together. Not only did we get Pleiades energy, we also have Andromedan energy, and it's adventure, and it says say yes to change. I don't know if you can see, but this person has just jumped into a portal. It looks kind of like a Stargate. It looks like an eyeball, kind of, but it's like jumping into a black hole. The iris would represent the black hole. So it's so interesting because this whole portal symbology I've been channeling it for a while. Like if you go on my Twitter, great rising everybody, by the way. If you go on my Twitter, you'll see like me talking about portals, and I post sometimes random channeled messages and my thoughts and stuff. So amazingly enough, with this energy coming in for us, there is going to be a balancing of energy, a balancing of on a collective scale and on an individual level, of course. Balance is coming in. The universe is ushering balance because there's a lot of chaos happening, and possibly in your life, you may feel a little bit of chaos happening in your life as well. So let's look at these two messages. This is not going to be super long. This is just, again, a message, a channeled message, and it's for inspiration. It may or may not resonate with you. It's not sign specific. Yeah. See, Spirit wants you to come out of this Eight of Cups energy. And with this air element, these cards here don't also talk about people, but they talk about seasons or time frames. So we know this is confirmation for Libra because we are in Libra season. So this is beautiful. So this is saying Libra season is letting go of baggage. It's about walking away finally. You did enough soul searching. You got enough information. It's time to glean over things, glean over the past situations, the emotional experiences, because it's the Cup card. And it's time for you to find a balance between head and heart. This being cups, this is the heart emotions. And then this being air, it's clearly head, right? Mind and heart balance. So Libra season is all about pouring out what doesn't serve, severing, walking away, right? Because this is about moving on. But remember, it is reverse. So that means that there could be a little bit of residual energy that is still keeping you stuck in an old paradigm, because this is all about walking through a new portal, a portal of change. And I love this because it says be a visionary. There's going to be inspired ideas. And I love this message of say yes to change here. Absolutely adore that, because it's important for us to be open to change, right? The only thing that's constant in this particular universe or omniverse that we experience as a collective is change, right? Change is inevitable. When, impermanence is a very hard lesson for humans. Learning that nothing lasts forever outside of your soul self, which is eternal. Physically, the physicality of Earth and being a human on Earth, it's a temporary exchange, a temporary experience for us for soul growth. So you're being asked to embrace change here in Libra season. Libra season is ushering a new era. So if you're feeling spent emotionally, they're saying that there will be some sort of balance. Again, we have another air card, the Seven of Swords in reverse. So we're definitely looking at facing something from a logical perspective. I like to look at the Seven of Swords as clarity, because it's about reflecting. When we see sevens, or me at least as a reader, I think about, a process of reflection and ascension from that reflection. So there's a little bit of self-assessment. There's a little bit of no longer avoiding. If you felt like you were abandoned, I feel like there is as I say that, I have limitations. If you feel like you were abandoned or restricted or blocked, I feel like those blocks are being removed. I feel like there's a need for you to have discernment, but when it comes to the way you think, your thought process, and eliminating deceptive thoughts or some sort of perceived, some sort of narrative that you've been telling yourself that no longer works for you. Facing things head on is what they're saying. Let's see. Yeah. Release. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Release. Purge. Mental release. Mental purging. Because there's a sort of, because the Seven of Swords is the deception card, right? The thief, the liar in the center, whatever. But here we're talking about your mental faculty. Something about the way you were thinking or how you perceived your experience. Because for me, the Seven of Swords is about seeking the truth. And I feel like there is a honest investigation that has taken place, or that will take place, that will allow you to release things that maybe have kept you stuck because of a perception that may have been false. So I really like that. And I feel that whatever this perception is the inability to embrace change because of a fear of some sort of perceived limitation, or a perceived outcome, right? An expectation. Sometimes our expectations can be negative, right? Sometimes we may have an expectation of failure, and it's false. It's because it's your ego preventing you from taking constructive action. Why am I using those two words together? Because with me, I feel a resistance. Sometimes when I say things or I channel things and I kind of feel a little bit, I second guess it. It's because sometimes I think about the way I'm articulating things, right? But constructive action, that's interesting. Why is that coming through? I think that sometimes we take action that's not constructive or conducive because we're not following the intuition. Instead, we're too logical, right? We overanalyze, and it prevents us from reaching a proper decisions. Does that make sense? So, when we are in an energy of fear, and we sometimes overanalyze, sometimes it's hinders us from making decisions, and sometimes it manifests as bad decisions. Because what happens is when we rely too much on the logical aspects of ourselves, or we overanalyze a situation, we neglect the intuition, which then therefore causes us to not have clarity. And because of that lack of clarity, we tend to make mistakes, right? So I'm just kind of trying to correlate constructive action. It says constructive action is a less formal, non-disciplinary approach to resolving a situation. Okay. 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 Hold on. Because you know me. I always like, dude, when things come through and I need to articulate it, sometimes I have to like, wait a minute, why did that come through? Right? Because like I said, these messages are being channeled through me and I have an understanding of what's being presented, but sometimes I have a hard time articulating. So it says there are two ways to create constructive action. I'm using some random resource online. And it says the first one is simply by avoiding the non-virtuous ones, you're faced with an opportunity where you could lie or you could make a conscious decision, right, to yourself, right? No, I'm not going to do that. Or you're faced with a situation where you could really tell someone off and you say, no, I'm not going to do that. It's just the avoidance of the destructive action. So constructive versus destructive. Good. So constructive action is taking an action that is constructive, that is conducive to self-actualization or just your spiritual growth, right? It's about making constructive decisions, basically. It's, if I take this action, how will it affect me in the long run, right? It's thinking before you act, but in a constructive way, because these examples are awesome. It's these examples. This is some sort of spiritual site. I'm like I said, I just pulled something randomly off the internet, but I like what he's saying because he says it's just the avoidance of a destruction action itself. The avoidance of a destructive action itself is a constructive one. This is why taking and keeping precepts is so helpful, because you have to determine to avoid the destructive actions, and that determination is always in your mind. So every moment that you are not acting counter to that determination, every moment that you're keeping the precept, you're accumulating that constructive karma of that virtuous deed, even though you're sleeping. So this is interesting because this is talking about, it says, part of a series of teachings on the text, the essence of human life, words of advice. Wow. So this is very interesting. This is going in really, really, really deep. But this is talking about taking constructive action, like not being idle, not lying, telling the truth, right? Don't criticize people. Instead of harsh speech, speak kindly. Instead of using speech to create disharmony, speaking in a way where it can bring people together. Instead of stealing, protect others' properties. Instead of unwise and unkind sexual behavior, using sexuality wisely and kindly. So this is about one versus the other, two extremes, right? How can you take constructive action in your life, right? You know, and for you, it could be different things. This example is talking about how we need to evaluate the decisions we've made in the past and use those examples to create a stepping stone for you to have a different experience. Because sometimes if you have a certain belief structure or a fixed mindset or maybe conditioning from past experiences, your reality is going to be shaped by that. And you're going to move in a way that may be destructive in nature, but because of the comfortability or the familiarity of that experience or those thought processes, right? It's called patterns. You know, in Tarot we talk about patterns and cycles. You perpetuate, right, a certain way of being, which was destructive at first for you. So let's just say for you, right here, with all this dissatisfaction in your emotional life, let's just say it was because you had a fear of failure or you had self-limited beliefs, right? Maybe you had low self-esteem. Maybe it's something you've been struggling with, and sometimes your thought process is negative. Maybe your self-talk is negative. Maybe you tell yourself that you're not good enough, or maybe you feel that way, or subconsciously it's coming through and the way you make decisions, right? There's an underlining destructive way of thinking or doing or behaving. And this is saying that now there needs to be a healthy way of reflecting over these things in order to avoid repeating or perpetuating these patterns. So for me, my biggest issue was, the imprint of not feeling good enough. It was expressed in different ways, throughout my adult life. Some ways it manifested for me was I was being challenged with giving tasks that I was afraid to take, right? Or I was challenged where I was presented with in a relationship, let's just say a relationship or soulmate came in my life in order to reflect this wound, right? I remember one time I met somebody and I was afraid to date this person because in the back of my mind, I just didn't feel good enough at the time in that particular space and time. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel confident enough in myself. And I always had this fear that maybe if I were to take a risk that I would end up getting hurt because I kind of correlated a past experience, or I kept referencing a past experience of being rejected. And because of that imprint, every time I was presented with having a relationship, in the back of my mind, there was a fear there, a limitation, or a limited way of seeing or a perception, right, of me inevitably being hurt. Sorry if my words are being jumbled because I'm trying to articulate. And I was hurt in a past relationship. I was rejected. So whenever I'm presented with a relationship dynamic, it was to reflect back that wound. So I would always in the back of my mind have a fear of getting hurt. So my reaction or the deconstructive action was to avoid. It was to close off myself. It was not to allow myself to be vulnerable. It was, I have trust issues. So what happens is you start to sabotage, right? Because of these issues, you start to sabotage your relationships. The way you can sabotage relationships can be manifested in different ways, depending on the person. I'm just using myself as an example. So one things that I would do is just keep myself busy and distracted, not being open, right? Being heavily guarded. I'm not being trusting or being overly analytical or over analyzing things, right? Taking things too personal. There's just different things. Hey, baby, it's different things, that can manifest with those imprints. So Spirit is saying that, if you can reflect back on a situation or something that did not bring an emotional satisfaction, can you look, with honest investigation, can you look at ways that you could have took a more constructive action, right? So if, for a lot of you guys may have struggled in your relationships or just in life goals. And, another thing that I noticed collectively is procrastination and finding that procrastination is just a manifestation, again, of fear of failure or success. And feeling like you're not good enough. Again, that same imprint comes in, like I said, it can be manifested in different ways because essentially what is that? What is fear of failure? It's not feeling good enough, not feeling like you're going to be able to accomplish something, not feeling like you can achieve certain things. So this is what they're saying. Whatever those deconstructive thoughts or those things, perceptions or limited beliefs are, those are the things that need to be purged. So when we see the Eight of Cups show up, oftentimes we automatically assume it's walking away from a relationship or a person or a job. Sometimes it's not walking away from the physicality of walking away, like physically leaving something. No, sometimes it's about leaving behind a mindset, a perception. And usually the perception is created, and I'm going to use the word imprint or wound is created because we're emotionally responding to something that already happened in our past. And because we're still attached to that emotion from the past, we're still carrying that pain around. And then it's affecting different situations in our lives, right? Because we keep reliving something that happened in the past that has nothing to do with this future thing. But because we have that imprint, it affects everything, right? because we're perceiving from that space instead of clearing it and creating a new starting point. And this is what the universe is wanting us to understand. How can you create new starting points instead of using that past experience as your reference? So let me give a vague example. I'm going to use one of my clients, right? I'm not going to tell you her name. So I have a client, and she will know what I'm talking about. And I hope you don't mind me using this as an example. But again, I'm going to keep it very, ambiguous, I guess. So I have a client. She was in a long-term relationship, which was a committed relationship. She was married, and that relationship it created a negative emotional experience for her, and that was to kind of help her to heal through some past wounds. And when I use the word past, this can reference something in this lifetime or another lifetime. But she was in a negative experience, and the experience was reflecting back a wound of abandonment, right? Abandonment, not feeling good enough, feeling like, because she's not good enough, she's going to be left, right? So that relationship didn't work out, and that particular relationship ended, and it was very traumatic because of the ending of it. And even though that created an emotional, it was emotionally turbulent for my client, and there was a lot of reflection done on it. The imprint that she carried on from that experience affected all of her future relationships. So after losing that particular relationship, and unfortunately, that particular partner was lost. This was, they're currently deceased, right? And that relationship played a major part in her life because, like I said, it was very long term. There was a lot of experience to be gained because there was a lot of years invested there. So now that my client is a single woman trying to date, getting past a traumatic event like losing a spouse, and getting past just the traumatic events of being with someone that didn't give her the emotional satisfaction that a normal human being would normally expect to have. But in her adult life, trying to date after being in a long-term commitment, she finds it very difficult to get past certain wounds. And those wounds that are being presented are wounds of, I'm going to be left, or I'm going to be mistreated, or I'm going to be cheated on because of her past experience. And a lot of us have these same wounds. We are in relationships that are traumatic. And then when we move out of that space, we're still carrying on the pain. There's still an attachment there. So when we move into new relationships, or we attempt at relationship, those wounds, those imprints create this perception or this false expectation or false belief, right? Or beliefs that will create scenarios where we will sabotage, right? Because we think that, okay, this person's going to do the same thing. Or my other relationship didn't work out for this and this and this reason. So that, therefore it's going to happen again, right? And for a lot of us, when things don't work out, we automatically assume blame. And sometimes it's subconscious. Sometimes we subconsciously do this because, again, what we do is the negative experience creates a perception of failure, or again, a perception of self that is unfavorable. So again, I'm going to use myself as a reference point here to make my point. I'm a divorcee, so I was married, and my spouse at the time neglected me and was very cold towards me. I was dating an air sign. He's very cold and rigid, and the emotionality of the relationship was lacking. There was not a connectiveness when it came to emotions. He was a provider in a practical sense. He was nurturing in a practical sense, meaning that bills were paid and he provided. But as far as in an emotional sense, there was a major disconnect. There was no emotional availability. There was no emotional nourishment, and there was no connectiveness emotionally in the relationship. So eventually that relationship ended, right? Because I finally gained enough courage to walk away from that situation. And I've talked about this in, other videos that I've done vaguely, but if you know my story, you kind of know my experience. So moving out of that relationship and trying to date again was very difficult for me because, again, I had this whole, I'm not good enough because my ex-husband treated me this way. He treated me or made me feel rejected. So therefore, what I began to do as an imprint is started to reject myself, right? Because he rejected me, I started to reject myself. I started to feel like something was wrong with me. Maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I wasn't attractive enough. Maybe I wasn't a good wife or a good mom or whatever, right? And a lot of times we do this, especially if you've dated people that cheated on you and went towards other women, you automatically assume blame or start to reject yourself. And these situations arise in our life because the universe wants us to perceive it from a different reference point. After you go through a certain situation enough, it forces you into a reflective mode and it forces you to do self-assessment. And once you do that, you start to understand why certain situations or why you experience certain situations in your life. And it starts when you start to gain clarity on it, you start to take different action. Okay. So with that being said, what is being released is these perceptions, these beliefs, the mindset or thought process that don't serve you. And as I say this, the bottom of the deck, very, very interesting that this comes up because this is exactly what I'm talking about. And I hope I'm articulating this in a way where it's understandable. So this is what this is all talking about. So sometimes as readers, we will see walk away. You need to walk away. What it's talking about is you need to release the attachment to the experience, the ones that make you feel unworthy, make you feel lack, make you feel doubt, make you feel regretful, the parts of the experience that make you feel emotionally overwhelmed or give you a sense of negativity, right? So anything that's uncomfortable or discomforting, release it because it doesn't serve you. It serves you in the moment, or it was meant to serve you for a certain time frame, but it was not meant to be carried with you, right? You're not meant to carry that baggage everywhere you go. So this is what Spirit is saying. But to be able to recognize those imprints or those wounds, you need to use the mental faculty, right? And how do you do that is you find the balance between head and or mind and your heart. Thoughts and the thoughts and your feelings. How can you find a balance between the two? How can you look at them from in a separate way, right? But also as a whole, how can you find a balance between the two? How can my mind be in alignment with my heart? Because I think that what happens is when there's a disalignment, that's what creates this inability to take that constructive action or make those decisions that are in your best interest. Because sometimes we become overly emotional or we become overly logical. But when we're balanced between the two, then we have the clarity we need to make those constructive decisions. And most of the time, the decision is to purge and release, right? Purge and release fear-based thinking, purge and release negative thought patterns or behaviors. But it's a process. It's not going to be something that happens in overnight. It's going to be something that needs to be reflected on. You first need to identify what the problem is in order to fix it, right? So it's very important that we take the time to reflect. And I think Libra season is going to kind of give us the ability to do that so that we can find a balance. Now, in a practical sense, for some of you guys need to make space in order. So if you guys have been really focused on the material realm, you need to make space for yourself to be able to take time to do this reflection. Because I think a lot of time with the hustles and bustles of life, we don't take the time to really do the inner work, which is part of self-care. Part of self-care is to take the time to do the inner work, to really work on our not only the emotional psyche, but the logical psyche as well. Okay, very important. So the next message is Four of Pentacles, getting very grounded and stable. Now with this energy too, it kind of still feels that there is a clinging here. Okay. But it being in this position, this could be a solidarity that takes place once you start to do this reflection or this inner work. Wow. We have twin flames. So this is talking about wholeness. I'm not looking at this in a relationship sense. I'm looking at this more about what I was saying. Instead of avoiding, finding the balance, because this is just about masculine and feminine, right? Within self, coming together, a balance. Finding the balance to be able to come up with constructive, practical ways, right? Because this is an earth card, to become stable. Okay. The Four of Pentacles for me is a card of holding on to something as well. I want to put one more clarifier on it. Because, you know, in the original right away, we have it's a man holding on to a coin very tightly and not wanting to let it go. Yeah, somebody is holding on to memories. Again, this is referencing exactly what I was talking about. The reference point being the past, thus creating the deception that whatever happened in the past will repeat itself. It's because you're using the wrong reference point. Spirit is saying we want you to release the past, release that attachment to the past, so that your reference point is not always coming from that space. So your identity doesn't always come from that space. You know, back then in the past, I was rejected. But now in the present, I'm not in that space anymore. So therefore, I'm not rejected now just because then I got rejected by someone. You know what I'm saying? So this is what this is talking about. How do we find balance here? How can we have a healthy reflection of a situation and experience and learn from it without being attached to it? How do we do that? That's really where I find where I trip up sometimes and where other people trip up. How can I reference this situation from the past from a healthy space and do the honest investigation without being attached to it, without feeling attached to those emotions? Because I made a video and a while back, and it's part of my soul therapy, and it's in a playlist, and it was called "How Can I Release the Pain?" I believe it was called, if I'm not mistaken. You might want to watch that video because that I went really in depth into that. But it's on my playlist, and I believe it's called "How Can I Release the Pain?" or something to that effect. I'm going to look at my playlist and tell you what the name of the video is. It's Soul Therapy with Magic. So it's this playlist here. It's 5 videos. And so it has this heart. And the video is actually called How to Heal. Yeah. How to Heal from the Pain. So I am right. So this is the video. So if you get a chance, please watch it. And you get to see me. Yeah. So it's finding, it's allowing yourself to kind of travel back in time to look at it, but not be attached to it. It's almost like an outer body experience, you know, and a lot of us have been doing this unbeknownst to you. And some people, you're aware of this because my clients tell me, you know what, Magic, I've been thinking and I realize I've been reflecting. They use these words to me, you know, and because this is the process. That means you're going through your ascension because you are doing the work. But a lot of people are still avoiding. Okay. And if you're in the energy of avoiding reliving a situation because it was painful, that is your inability to process emotions. So this is talking about processing emotions, doing the honest investigation, but finding the balance between heart and mind. How can I look at this situation without it bringing me out of my equilibrium? How can I look at a situation that was uncomfortable, that was painful, without still being attached to that pain, right? It was in the past. Why do I need to keep carrying that pain around? Why do I need to keep carrying that imprint of I'm not good enough, or, because my ex-husband rejected me, therefore I'm rejecting myself and not allowing myself to experience better because I still have that reference point. Why do I keep perpetuating this rejection narrative for myself, right? Because I'm still operating from that reference point. So spirit wants us to release that and create new starting points. That's why they say new beginnings. That's why we get aces in the tarot, new beginnings. So this is let go of the past. The nostalgia, the memories of the past, the unfavorable outcome, the experience. Don't attach yourself to it. Do the honest investigation, reflect on it, and learn from it. What was the purpose? Why did spirit give us that experience? Right? There's always a higher purpose, but we need to know how to not attach to them. So a certain level of balance is coming through. And it's beautiful because it's saying divine feminine masculine within self is coming together to understand how these experiences have fragmented you, but understanding how your reality will completely change when you call back all parts of yourself, right? Essentially masculine and feminine coming back into union. That is what twin flame is about. That is the gag. That's what the other people are not telling you in the twin flame community. They keep referencing something outside of yourself. Remember, the mirror, right? The other part of you, the mirror is just to help you do the work for the inner. The inner needs to take place first before the outer can align. So your mirror is coming in to help you to call all parts of you back, all the fragmented parts back into wholeness. And once you can reach this wholeness, then externally everything will align. But for the sake of this message, Spirit is saying, don't be too focused on the mirrors. Focus on you, right? Because the mirror was just there to help you. How do you get back into wholeness? Something you need to ponder. It's very interesting. Thank you, Spirit. Very interesting message this morning. Wow. We definitely have closed off energy. Remember, and I'm talking about mirrors. So Spirit wanted me to say, oh, yeah, they need to change that. Especially the people that want to be with their twin flame so super bad, right? I want to be with my twin flame. I feel lost without my twin flame. I feel empty. I feel incomplete. Wow. Think about that. Because I said I felt that way. Think about that. That's because you feel incomplete within. Remember, they're your mirror. They're mirroring the things you already feel on the inside. So if you feel incomplete, lost, lonely, it's because you need to call back all the fragmented parts of yourself and become whole. When you become whole, the mirror becomes whole. Does that make sense? When you become whole, the mirror comes whole. Spirit is talking. Spirit is talking. We're guarding or resisting change. Look what's at the bottom of the deck. Spirit is talking. Spirit is saying, come on through with the message, girl. When you resist change, honey, you're staying stagnant, stalemate energy. Yeah, that may be true. You can stay happily single, but maybe your life purpose is not to be single. Did you think about that, Tars? Have you thought about maybe your life purpose on this planet is not to be a single man? And maybe the reason why you're so comfortable with being single is because you're resisting change. You're avoiding hurt. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to everybody watching. Maybe you're okay with being single because I'm one of those people, right? It doesn't matter if you're a light worker or not. What matters is honest and being honest, because I'm a light worker too, but I'm going to be transparent and say I avoid because I don't want to get hurt. And I am comfortable being single. But at the end of the day, there is still something, a longing nudging you. Wow, spirit, look what fell out. I went like this and this fell out. Truth, be honest. Yeah, a lot of us will avoid situations and tell ourselves false beliefs that, oh, I don't need to be with anybody to be happy. Maybe your purpose is not meant to be single. Think about that. Okay. Think about that. Being a light worker does not mean that you're meant to be single. And that's the problem in the spiritual community. Um, that's why spirit says there needs to be a balance also with spirituality and being human. Part of the human experience is to be human. And a lot of people forget that. And, again, you have to operate from your reference point. But this is a very powerful message. And if you're watching this because you're meant to watch it, a lot of times I'm a light worker and I do this work every day, day in, day out, no days off. Okay, I got to force to give myself a day off. But what I have realized through my honest investigation is that I have been in stalemate energy. Yes, I find fulfillment in doing this work, right? Spiritually, but in my human life, I am very emotionally unfulfilled for me. And I'm talking about me. I'm not projecting onto you guys. And I'm just giving you guys an example of why I've had experienced emotional fulfillment because I wasn't allowing myself to have those human experiences because I was avoiding being hurt by people in all areas of my life, family, friends, and relationships, because of those past imprints, because I kept referencing from the past. Yeah, a lot of professional light workers don't know what they're talking about, my love. That's why spirit always says use your intuition. We have a lot of people saying that they're professionals. That titles don't mean anything to me. And I'm not saying that because I'm saying that that person was wrong. I'm pretty sure they were completely accurate with that statement. I'm absolutely positive that you are supposed to make a splash. I'm positively confident in that statement that you made, that you are meant to make a splash. But maybe you're supposed to make that splash and be in a healthy relationship at the same time. And there's no such thing as a natural light worker and a light worker. Please, there's no such thing. Okay. Those are just words and those are just labels that you've created. Okay. That's your truth. That's not, you got to understand that there's no words are words. And I can tell you this and I can say that this is truth, but that doesn't make it your truth. So there's no such thing as a natural light worker. We're all here on this planet for a reason. There's no such thing as a natural life. Like, okay, I was born to be, okay, all of us are born to be light workers. Every single person on this planet. You choose your path. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's karma is different. There's no, that's that illusion of separation. That's almost egotistical to say, I'm natural light worker and you're not a natural light worker. What makes you more of a natural light worker versus somebody else that just uses light worker? What's the difference? Does it make you extra special because you have natural in front of your light worker versus the person that just says light worker? So be careful with the words you guys are saying. Okay, be careful with these words that we're putting out there. Be careful of ego. Ego will convince you false beliefs, false perceptions that, oh, what you hear is true. Ego will make you think that a lot of stuff is true when it's not. This is why spirit is saying the only thing that you need to do is that inner work. Everything else is obsolete. Your reference to truth should be coming from you, always. Because sometimes we'll get caught up in words and labels, and then we'll think, oh, yeah, I'm a vegan, and therefore I'm healthier than you. because I don't eat meat, I don't kill animals, I'm healthier. Let me tell you something. You know how many vegans I know that are unhealthy? And there's so many healthy vegans, but I've seen so many meat eaters that are healthy as well. Who created this, these belief systems? People outside of you. Am I saying it's wrong to be a vegan? No, but I'm saying that there's a perception that automatically, if you're not vegan, you're not healthy. It's an automatic assumption. Automatically, if you look fit, if you look thin, it's automatically assumed that you're healthy. How many of you guys know thin people that eat like shit? They're just naturally thin. There's always an assumption that we got to get past those. Okay. All right. So anyways, let me get back on track. So Spirit wants you guys to have a different way of seeing things, big picture thinking. Okay. A healthy way of looking at things. Okay. Getting past perceptions, beliefs, conditioning, constructs, all of that shit. And they want you to have a big picture way of thinking. Okay. And this brings me to Uranus energy, even Jupiter, for me, Uranus is that innovative way, or that, Aquarian way of thinking, right? Okay, maybe you got to rewind to hear what I said. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear, but it doesn't really matter. I was just talking about natural, what makes natural light worker better than light worker. There's no such thing, because I said it could be a little bit egotistical, because now you're saying that because you're a natural light worker, therefore you're putting more importance on it. Be careful with the words you say, I'm saying, because the ego can trick you. There's no such thing. Own that you are, you came here to be a servant to humanity, but don't try to create some sort of illusion of separation that your natural light worker label is better than being labeled as a light worker. Okay. It's just like me saying I'm a Christian, and, therefore that makes me, in some sort of special club. You know what I mean? It's the same thing as saying, oh, well, I'm a vegan, so therefore I'm automatically in a club that says that I'm healthier than you, or I'm more awakened or enlightened than you because I don't eat meat. They're just labels, and they're just beliefs, and beliefs are beliefs. Don't necessarily make them truth. Okay, so that's what I was saying. Be careful with that. No, there's no such thing. Everybody is a light worker from birth. Everybody on this planet. That's what I was saying when it was cutting out. So if you believe that somebody is born to be a light worker and somebody else is not, that's not true. Everybody on earth has come here. They come here from different star seeds to learn and to be awakened to what they came to do. So if you think that, we all have missions, all of us. You're just putting more importance on whatever you think you came here to do. That's not what you're meant to do. Spirit does not want you to operate from that type of perception. Don't operate from a perception as if your purpose is more important than somebody else's purpose. Just be careful with that. You understand? There's no such thing. I'm telling you. Do not make it be, oh, well, I was born to do this because of this, and this, and that. Therefore, because that's ego, because that's saying I have more of an importance, because I was born this way. We are born, all of us are, okay? All of us. It don't matter what you think or who you think is this and that. Everybody came to earth to awaken to their purpose, and everybody's purpose on this planet is to be a light worker. Everybody is just at a different stage in their journey. That's all that is, okay? Anyways, but again, your truth is your truth. Truth is relative. So anyways, let's move on. So yeah, so Spirit is saying, and it's okay to express your truth, okay? But make sure that the way you're expressing is coming from a big picture thinking perspective. Okay, because it don't matter if you keep trying to differentiate, or trying to put yourself in a position of being more enlightened. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we all are trying to ascend, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I'm feel that I'm farther along. When we come to assist the collective, we have to come from a place of compassion, and we have to remove the ego from that, you know, because we're all learning. This is a school for everybody to learn, right? And just because I feel like I'm in college and somebody else is in middle school doesn't make me more important or anything like that. Spirit wants us to complete cycles that don't serve us. It's very important, because what they're saying is we're moving out of this old way of thinking and we're moving into this big picture thinking, which is that Aquarian energy that's coming through. And, they're telling you to jump into a new portal. Take it, say yes to change, because that's how we are going to change this planet. That's how we are meant to assist here. We're meant to get people out of these old constructs, these old patterns of thinking, the conditioning, the belief systems, the dogma, the religion, whatever it is that is keeping people stuck in these paradigms of conflict with each other, in these paradigms of conflict within yourself. Spirit is trying to bring in wholeness and balance. Libra season is going to be very important, because it's going to be the starting point where balance is going to be restored, on a collective level for everybody. Okay. So it's very important that we all just get really grounded and try not to be rigid in the way we think. And let's go back to our own individual journeys. Individually, I started off by talking about an emotional experience, and I'm talking about how it is important for us not to reference from that space in the past in an old cycle, so that we don't stay stuck in it. Because the goal is for us to move out of the old cycle and to walk into this new portal so that we can enjoy new beginnings, right? Why do I want to keep perpetuating this cycle of pain? This is why when we talk about cycles, a lot of people don't understand the concept, because they're not seeing it from a space of, they're not understanding the reference. They think that closing a cycle is, oh girl, I got to leave this relationship, I got to leave this job. When most of the time they're talking about your thinking, your patterns, just your behavior. Sometimes it's just what you need to close out is the fact that you don't think you're good enough. It's going to affect anything you do. It doesn't matter if you leave that job. It doesn't matter if you leave that relationship. If your reference point is always, I'm not good enough, you can go to a new job, you can date a new person, and you're still going to fuck it up. It's still just not going to make you happy. You see what I'm saying? I shouldn't say you're going to fuck it up. That's not a kind way of putting that. I should say that there's still going to be some sabotaging, or there still might be an uncomfortable experience, because Spirit is just going to send you another lesson until you get it, until you say, oh, you know what? I get it now. I need to stop operating from that space, that reference point that was put there in the past. I'm still attached to that experience from the past, and I keep referencing from that past experience. Spirit is saying, close that cycle out, my love. Yeah, maybe that relationship didn't work out in the past, but stop referencing from that experience. He cheated on me, he beat on me, and I don't feel good about myself, because if I did, I wouldn't have let him do that to me. And so therefore I'm broken. And then people are operating from that broken space. You're not broken anymore. The only reason you still feel broken is because you're still in that past energy. Come out of it. Let it go. It doesn't serve you. So, my moderators are here to assist the channel, to keep the channel, people from distracting me from the reading. So you posting your thoughts, that's okay. But if you really want to speak your truth, you have your own YouTube channel. So make your own YouTube videos. Doesn't that make more sense than you to try to prove a point on somebody else's channel? You don't think that it would make more sense for you to just post your own videos speaking your truth? There's nothing wrong with your truth. I think she blocked you because you were distracting. Other people are trying to follow the message, but because you keep putting your thoughts, it kind of becomes distracting. So again, check your ego. Is all I'm saying. I'm not paying attention to you after this, but I just want you to understand, as a light worker, do you think you coming back under another channel? Do you think that's what the behavior of a so-called natural light worker? Think about that for a second. Think about it, because since natural light workers are better than light workers, I don't know. I've never heard of a natural light worker. Do you think a natural born light worker, from your point of reference, would come under another channel just to prove a point? It sounds like ego to me. Hey, baby. Hey, Corianne. Okay, so let's complete the message. Okay, that was a little entertaining. Sorry for the distractions, you guys. Are you guys following, so far? Is it making sense? All right, thank you. Because you already know. If you've been with me, and Nani knows. Nani knows me. Nani knows that I can go in if I want to. But we're talking about balance here. And we're talking about constructive action here. So therefore, because of my past, because I can reference to the past and from a healthy space, I know that that's not conducive to my growth. So I'm not going to address what I can address. But what I will say is, for this space of time that I'm creating for us to learn, to have an experience together, I'm not going to allow someone to come in and distract and disrespect. Because if you have your own channel, go do your own thing there. Okay, this is my space, my little domain. So I'm going to dictate how things happen here, whether you like it or not. And like I said, truth is relative. Whenever I speak, it's not for you to hold on to my belief or my truth or my philosophy. It's for you to reflect on what is being said and for you to formulate your own truth. But make sure that it's coming from a space of wholeness. Okay? Thank you. All right. So let's talk about closing out cycles. Ooh, Spirit is saying, girl, come through. My spirit guys are petty betties, let me tell you. This is why you got to be very careful with the spiritual community and their labels. Labels don't mean shit. You think labels mean anything? They don't mean anything. I could say that I'm a rock. I could say whatever I want to say. Am I really in alignment to that label? You will know them by their fruits, people. You will know them by their fruits. Okay? All right, Libra season, balance. So Spirit is saying, ooh, I love it. Thank you, Spirit. I love it. This is confirmation. Don't ever get it twisted. You are always divinely protected and being guided in your journey. Okay? Even when distraction comes, even when, things that come along your path that may feel unfavorable, right? We talked about a little bit about thought process, and we talked about I'm talking about a reference point. How can we get past that reference point, okay, a lot of you guys, you guys are over love, and you're like me, you're trying to focus on how can I level up in life in general, right? How can I become a better version of myself so that I can have a better quality of experience, a better quality experience of my life? Well, what are the parts of your life that need to be changed? That's the first focus. Okay, well, maybe I need to change, maybe I'm a procrastinator. Maybe I need to work on that. Why do I procrastinate? All right, why do I procrastinate? What's holding me back? Most of the time, procrastination is due to the fact that you can't come up with a clear decision. And most of the time, you can't come up with a clear decision because your mind is cluttered. There's a distraction there. There's something that you're focusing on, right? Or there is something that's creating instability within. And usually the instability is an imbalance between heart and mind. Your heart wants one thing and your mind wants one thing. It's always about balance at the end of the day. This is why it's so important. Equilibrium is so important. Libra season is going to teach you. When whatever is out of balance, this season is going to really, really highlight it for you. It's almost like it's going to be spotlighted. That needs to be fixed, girl. Did you not get the lesson? Summer? Oh, you didn't get it, summer? Okay, we're going to show you Libra season, because Libra season is about equal give and take in all areas of your life. And I'm not talking about in exchange of you and another person or something external. I'm talking about within. Equal give and take. I'm talking about my internal needs to match my external. My internal needs to match my external. If I don't like what I'm seeing on the external, that means I need to change the internal. Period.com. Damn, I don't like the fact that I'm not making a lot of money. How can I go about balancing myself internally to get the outside to look like I want it to look? Damn, I don't like the fact that every time I get in a relationship, I get played or it doesn't work out. What do I need to do? Inner reflection. Get the internal right to get that external to look right. That's what I'm talking about. Right, Corianne. The Equalizer. I kept, and you want to know something? I'm not sure who is that. A movie? I think that's a movie, and I think that's Denzel Washington. Did anybody watch that movie, The Equalizer? I think I seen it, and it was a good movie, but I can't remember what it was about. I know he was a vigilante or something like that. Equalizer. I like to look up words. Y'all know me. Y'all be like, this bitch always looking some shit up. My nigga. Okay, so anyways, I know my alter ego likes to come out sometimes in my videos, but that's okay. Because we're all about authenticity on this channel. I'm not about to try to be some perfect structured reader. That's not me. That's not my style. I have a whole different style. And my style is I like to interact with my peeps. I keep my comments on because I want to talk to you guys. How do you have a community and you don't talk to your community? You want the likes and you want the shares and you want the subscriptions, but you don't talk to people. That's weird to me, but let me get out of that. That's none of my business. Let me stop being messy. That is none of my business. Okay. It never made sense to me, but okay, y'all. Spirit says, girl, that is not your business. Mind your business. Okay, sometimes we need to learn how to mind our business. Okay. Equalizer. A thing that has an equalizing effect. A passive, I don't know what that is. What does equalizer mean? One that equalizes. Used to adjust response to different, okay, I don't know what that is. Yeah, equalizing effect. Yeah, that's true, Fatima. But what has invited that experience into your life? Let me tell you what that is. I'm going to tell you. Sometimes when we believe that someone is doing work, we create that experience. So get comfortable with not believing in it anymore. I'm not saying it's not real. What I'm saying is change the narrative. You're the author. Someone is working dark magic. Okay. How can you render that obsolete in your life? It can't do nothing to you, period. If you're in the wrong, if you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, that's another story. But if you're innocent, why are you even stressed? That's why Spirit is saying that y'all lack faith. Why are you shouldn't even be talking about it. I know I talk about it in my readings because I'm bringing information from the spiritual realm, confirming that you're good, because some of you guys are too worried, too pressed, too focused. The more you focus on something, the more energy goes there. Come out of that. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Woo! Transcendence. I love it. Ooh. Spirit says, if you've been feeling fragmented, remember I talked about bringing yourself into wholeness. It came out in reverse. Spirit is saying that you're overcoming that. That fragmentation is about to come to an end. Oh, and look, I told you, Autumn. Spirit is saying, but be careful. What type of seeds were you planting? Because they're about to come into fruition. And let's just hope you've been planting really, really good seeds here, people. Oh, you missed a lot. Oh, but you're at a space that is very positive because it's saying that whoever was fragmented, you are going to come into wholeness. If you can't look on at these cards and see the message, then I don't know what to tell you. Because what did I talk about? What did I say about you? What do you need to do first? Did not say you need to become, there needs to be a unity, an equal, a wholeness, an equilibrium. These words mean the same shit. Balance. Call back all the parts of you. Call them back. Come into wholeness. Spirit is saying you're transcending obstacles. You're transcending this energy of feeling lost or feeling fragmented or feeling rejected. You're transcending. This card came in the reverse. I don't even read these in the reverse. And you're coming into wholeness. It is going to happen. Or anything in your life that is fragmented is going to come into wholeness in autumn. You have no choice, because what's going to happen is anything that's not in alignment will go. It will go. The universe will remove it, or the process will be started. And mark my word, whatever don't serve got to go, baby. Double mission. Ooh, I love these cards, honey. Ooh. Double mission, light worker, starseed. Do you see natural in front of that word? No, you don't. You don't see nothing that say natural. Light worker, starseed. Serve the world by being you. This is so powerful. This is a powerful, powerful sentence. Serve the world by being you. Nothing more, nothing less. And it says perspective. None of this matters. Remember, I said that it's all perceptive. It's all perception. And a lot of times it's coming from a reference point that it's not even real anymore, because it's in the past. Or it just wasn't real to begin with. It was an illusion. It was deception. And it says, zoom out, common ground. Can we agree that everybody is referencing from a perspective that might not be ours? Does that mean that person's perspective is wrong? Not necessarily. Okay. Wow. Double mission. Yes, you are a starseed. Yes, you are a light worker. I don't care where you are in your journey. I don't care if you're out there popping your coochie, selling drugs on the corner. That don't mean that I'm better than you. It just means that I'm farther along, right? People like to put labels and put, make themselves feel better. And we all do it. We all judge. We do. Look at her. Look at her. She over there. All she know how to do is post pictures of her half naked on Instagram. But did you know that maybe her posting pictures of her half naked is her being who exactly she was supposed to be in her experience? Maybe it means that she got more confidence in you, and maybe that's why you're judging her, because you can't do it, because you don't feel good about yourself or your body. Think about that. It's perspective. Can we just be honest about perspective for a second? Can we? What is the truth? Who, and whose truth matters? None of it. It's just different perspectives being bounced around as truth. It's just different perspectives being labeled as truth. I'm a Christian. Does that make that bad? I believe in African spirituality. Does that make me wrong? I like to sleep with women. Does that make me bad? Whose truth is right? Think about that for a second. If you say to me, Magic, I think Jesus is the only way, and I think that people that don't believe in Jesus is going to go to hell. Does that make you wrong for believing that? It's your perspective. How can we stop this whole perpetuation of these beliefs or let me rephrase it. How can we stop these narratives or these paradigms of making other people's beliefs and truths wrong? Okay. Have you not met a corrupted Christian? Have you not met or heard of a corrupted Jew or Islam, people who practice Islam or Hinduism? Have you know awareness that it doesn't matter what label you give yourself? Do you have the awareness to know that just because someone is believes in a particular faith, that does not omit them from being able to commit a crime or do something wrong? It's just a label. Did you not know that there are people that don't even believe in God that are the kindest people on the planet, and there's people that do? No, not right now, babe. You see what I'm saying? Like it's the person. It don't really got anything to do with the label. I could be a Christian and I could be out there doing bad stuff. Does that exempt me from having to do the inner work? No. And does me believing in a different type of spirituality make me better than somebody else that thinks that their spirituality is the right spirituality? No, it doesn't. It just means that we have different perspectives, right? So I'm just giving you little examples. I'm not, there's no persecution of beliefs here. That not on my channel at least. There's a trend, and I was a little wary of bringing this up because it was very controversial. But I've been seeing this whole trend of people leaving the new age. First of all, you have never ever on this channel heard me call myself a new age anything, right? Because that is all about Aquarian way of thinking, and people are using that as something negative. But anyways, I don't label myself. And, this whole, I'm leaving the new age, I'm going back to Christianity, the trend, or this, I'm seeing it a lot. I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about that, but that's probably going to be in another live because it's very controversial, because I don't want to make it about who's wrong, who's right, because I don't have an opinion about whether I think something is wrong or right. What I do have an opinion about is people that keep labeling cards as evil. Doreen Virtue, I will call her out. These are her cards. I was on Instagram scrolling, and I see her posting a video of her burning cards. And she said, cards are demonic. Get rid of them. Get them out of your home. And I'm like, but what about all the people that got your cards in their home? Are they? I said, so burn your card? I was typing. I started to type. So burn your cards, Doreen? But then I was like, that's none of my business. And I said to myself, you know what? Maybe I should get rid of her cards. Why should I use her cards when she is preaching a doctrine that if I play with these, that I'm somehow attached to this demonic energy? And I know my truth is, I know that I'm not demonic. I know that my truth is that I'm helping, and that I'm coming from a place of unconditional love and pure intentions. So me reading cards make me evil, or am I evil by association? What is that about? What is that about? You know what I mean? What is that about? So if I feel that I'm being guided to leave tarot behind, it's really the work of the devil. What is that about? So does that make, by association, did that mean that I was operating from a evil? When I know that I don't have an evil bone in my body, I can't say that, because you never know what can trigger certain aspects of yourself. But when I know who I am as a person, like I'm trying to understand other people's perspective. But Spirit says, don't worry about none of that shit. That's not your truth. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff floating around, and I look at it, and I reflect, and I ponder, and I'm like, I wonder what that's about. Am I evil by association? My dad swears that this is evil. This is the devil's work, right? And I look at him like, well, do you see me as a bad person? He sees me as confused. He sees me as I need to come back to Jesus to avoid Jesus, the wrath of Christianity. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we have to really think about what's really going on. What is this? What is happening to the collective? And what is being taught at the same time? Because, everybody has an idea of what's right and what's wrong, right? They have their own idea of what's right and what's wrong, right? But what is the truth? Right? What's the truth? So Spirit says right now, transcend your own limited beliefs and seek your own truth. And you can only do this through honest investigation and reflection and inner work. Once you do that work and you find what your truth is, then you go towards it, right? Decisions. And it says, jump in. It says, listen, this portal is being made available to you. Big picture thinking about the big picture. And it says Andromedan energy, adventure, say yes to change. And whatever that change means in your life is your truth. And I'm making these statements because I'm not condemning anybody because of their beliefs or truth. I'm saying find your own truth and make that be your reference point. The real truth, the authentic truth, not the imprint that said, oh, this man broke up with me and that means I'm not good enough. I'm not talking about false truth. I'm talking about the real truth. The inner truth of real authentic self-expression. But in order for you to get there, you need to be honest about all the parts of you that are fragmented that still need to come into wholeness to get you to see what your mission is on this planet. Because some people's missions are to be Christian, and some people's missions are to be Hindu, and some people's missions are to be authentically gay and happy and transgender, and some people's missions are to be antagonists, and there are to be, they are to come in to induce conflict. Everybody got a freaking purpose. We don't, and everybody's mirroring. Everybody is going to go through experiences to help them grow and change. Some people are drug addicts for many years, and then they come out of it and they become clean and sober and they help other people. That was their mission. Some people started off, lived their life as homosexual and they decided this is not for me anymore. Or some people lived their entire adult life married and decided, this is not for me. I want to be, I like men, or I like the same sex. And that was their truth. And I thought I wanted to be in corporate America and be successful in my career. But my truth is I want to be a spiritual worker now. I want to read tarot cards. That's my truth. Et cetera, et cetera. Some people were doctors or lawyers and were in high paying positions. And now they want to be bakers and they want to have flower shops, and they want to have, they want to do arts and crafts, and they want to be singers, and they want to be dancers, or they want to do something else. What's your truth? Ooh, I'm feeling very weird. I don't know what I'm feeling right now. And it's so interesting because this card came out and I didn't address it yet. But it says awakening, and it says remember what you came to do. And the card that came out was all you came to do is to be yourself. Your authentic expression, true expression of self. So you are being told to jump in and say yes to change. I want to read that, or a little bit of that. Oh, I didn't mean to grab these. A little bit of that. jump in message. I think I'm going to call it a day with this particular message. I think I said a lot. I hope what I said kind of gave you some sort of insight, just to kind of ponder some things about yourself and just life in general and what's happening. I didn't know the direction that this would take, but I think I'm okay with the message. I'm okay. I'm satisfied with the message. It says, I guess I'm going to read it. Andromeda is a spiritual galaxy, the closest galaxy to the Milky Way. It's believed that Andromedan starseeds are a group of beings who love their freedom. Very adaptable, they have a strong willingness and ability to change and go with the flow. To find calm in the chaos, to swim with the tides. This card is here to encourage you to do the same. Perhaps you have a significant goal or opportunity ahead of you. If so, you're being guided to jump in. Don't wait for permission. Don't stall until you feel ready. Take a deep breath, a good old run up, and jump right on in. Life bends for the courageous, and the courageous is what you're being called to be. And courageous is what you're being called to be. You're already facing the right direction. The only thing left to do is leap. You'll figure out the details as you go along. Things may not always be smooth sailing. Life on earth rarely is. However, it's the rougher seas that teach us how to sail with glory. And once you know that, you can navigate any sea, any ocean, or any storm. The Andromedans want you to fall in love with surfing the waves of life, to seek more adventures, to embrace your own adaptability and find a way to be the calm in the chaos. You didn't come to Earth to be passive. Wow. You didn't come to Earth to be passive. You came to Earth to truly live. Now take a good run up and leap. How can you be more adventurous? How are you being called to jump right on in and leap? Yes. How can you take chances, risks, and have more of a life of pleasant and satisfactory experiences? Change your reference point. What does that mean, Magic? No longer looking at the past as your reference point, okay? Because whatever happened in the past doesn't matter. Your reference point should always be new, fresh, right? Adapting to change, finding balance in the chaos, and always opening yourself up to new experiences. It doesn't necessarily mean take unnecessary risk. It means that there is going to be opportunities for growth and to experience life as human. Once you are able to let go of perceived limitations, right? False beliefs and fear. Also, this is also talking about when it says jump in, this is also just in reference to, coming out of your comfort zone. Because a lot of times we avoid things because we're comfortable from that old reference point. We're comfortable with the old us. So that message is also saying, open yourself up to the possibility of your own self-growth. Who can you be if you come out of that comfort of who you were in the past? Right? I like that message. Yeah, because this is the reference point for some of us. Spirit doesn't want us to be referencing from this energy, from this perspective. I know I don't want to. So transcend that. Transcend this energy that fragmented, that keeps you fragmented. Lots of messages coming through. Let's get one more message. Ooh, you guys. Higher self activation, epiphany, breakthroughs coming out of deceptive reference points or beliefs, perceptions, negative thought patterns, negative expectations, negative narratives, anything that doesn't serve, you're releasing it. Even negative people, releasing. People that are under negative influences or beliefs as well, releasing all of that. I'm going to follow my higher self. I'm going to operate from this space. Epiphanies are saying breakthroughs, seeing everything from a different perspective, therefore giving you a new reference point to operate, right? To experience. Yeah. All right, you guys, I hope that was helpful. I like this message. I hope I was able to articulate and give you guys some insight. I feel really weird. I don't know what that's about, but you know, I'm calling on divine assistance. I don't know if it's because I'm drained. I feel very weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I feel weird, but I do. I don't know if you guys feel it too. It's a weird sensation that I'm feeling. I'm not sure what it is. I can't quite grasp what it is yet. Protect your energy, do the work, and happy healing, I guess. All right. Let me know what you thought about this message. Please leave it in the the comment section. I want to hear from you guys. Leave me a comment. I hope a lot of people watched this video. I think it was a good video. And like the video and subscribe to the channel. Bye.